Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ICG's Digital Academy webinar series. This is Sally Alsop, a member of the ICG committee. Continuing with the theme of online Qual techniques, in today's webinar, you'll be hearing from Eugene Murphy, founder and CEO of Indeemo. Eugene will be talking to us about the use of mobile ethnography in research. He's going to start with a brief introduction to mobile ethnography and then go on to explain how you can recruit for, incentivize, set up and run asynchronous Qual projects remotely. He will also share strategies on how you can pitch this remote service offering to your clients. Eugene is also offering webinar attendees a 20% discount on the use of the Indeemo mobile ethnography platform until November 2020. Please note that as the offer is restricted to attendees of this webinar only, Lucy will be sharing the participant list with Eugene, so please email Lucy directly if you would like to opt out of that. You'll have a chance to ask Eugene some questions at the end, so please type them into the question box as we go through and I'll read them out at the appropriate time. Also, Tom Woodnut, who's had some experience of using Indeemo, will be adding a few words, I believe, after Eugene's spoken. We are really grateful to Shifra Cook, who's an ICG member and founder of Particity, for sponsoring this webinar. I'm sure many of us will agree that paying incentives is often an unwanted and time-consuming task that brings with it GDPR and data security issues. Particity offers a fast, easy and secure way to overcome that. For more information or a demo, visit particity.co.uk or contact Shifra directly, either at shifra@particity.co.uk or the phone number that's on your screens now. Before I hand over to Eugene, here are the next webinars to note in your diaries. Some of them are open for registration now. As you can see, we've got a busy agenda. Also, just to remind people that there are still sponsorship opportunities for a couple of forthcoming webinars if anyone's interested. The cost is £100 for a lot of exposure on our website, mailers and social media, and of course on the day of the webinar. So our speaker today is Eugene Murphy from Indeemo. And Eugene, if you're ready, I'll hand over to you.
Absolutely. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Show my screen. Good. So is this coming through for everybody? Yes?
Yep, good.
Brilliant. So thanks very much. So good morning, everybody. It's great to be on here today and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I'd like to take you through today through mobile ethnography in the Indeemo platform, and specifically how, with the goal of how you can use it to pitch a new remote service offering to your clients. So what we've seen in the last 3.5 months now is initially a pause. It was in March and April was all about kind of pausing projects where clients were unsure how to proceed in this new normal. But in the last 4 to 6 weeks, we've seen a big increase in inquiries coming in for remote digital research briefs. And one of the big trends we're seeing is this omnichannel push where clients are digitizing their offering. They're embracing online, they're embracing mobile, they're embracing e-commerce more. And as I talk through the capabilities today, really the goal is to, I guess, educate you as to how this technology can enable your service and give you an ability to offer an evolved service offering back to your clients who we believe are certainly in need of remote capabilities to figure out, you know, how behavior has changed and I guess what habits have been formed over the last 3 months. Okay, so to start off, what is mobile ethnography? So it's a remote capability and it's asynchronous. So, you know, everybody's kind of moving to online IDIs and online focus groups through Zoom. Those are synchronous. You get to talk to your participants for 60 minutes or 90 minutes. With mobile ethnography, what it is actually asynchronous. So instead of getting one window that's 90 minutes where you talk to them face to face, mobile ethnography is a way for you to capture 90 minutes of data, but over the course typically of a week. So it's about 15-20 minutes a day typically. What that allows you to do is it allows the respondent to kind of take you into their lives for a week. You get to remotely walk in their shoes, and you get to experience what's really going on in their lives, whether that's in their kitchens or in their workplaces or even in store. Okay, and really the best way to describe it is probably like a periscope into reality. Okay, so it's a way for you to leverage smartphones, to leverage mobile, to leverage video, and walk in the shoes of these participants over a period of time. One of the main things we're learning about it is, as projects are longitudinal and they go on for 7 days, you get a chance to live with the data for longer. The time window isn't as compressed. So you get a chance to open up a dialogue and observe repetitive behavior. So instead of respondents telling you what's happening you know, in their lives over a 90-minute window, they get to show you what's going on repeatedly over the course of a week. And the repetitive behavior can be very obviously provoking, but very authentic, but it also proves that what they actually do is what they say they do. Okay. Generally, how does it work? So the ecosystem of a project is typically a brand will send you guys a brief. You know, our clients are predominantly researchers like yourselves. So we sell in through consultants, typically individuals, freelancers, boutique agencies. Okay. So you'll typically get a brief from the client. They'll be looking for some sort of a question answered. Okay. And you'll come to us typically if mobile ethnography is one of the methodologies you think could solve the brief. Okay. And then in the ecosystem or project, if the bid is won, basically the recruiter will go and find the respondents for you, and the respondents will get incentivized to take part. So essentially there's nothing new here. It's the same mechanic as recruiting for a focus group. It's the same mechanic as recruiting for an IDI. It's the same mechanic as recruiting for an in-person ethnography. It's just that we're giving you the ability to do the research remotely. Okay, so the respondents will use our mobile app, which I'll show you shortly. They'll update the videos and photos and text where you, the researcher, will log in on our dashboard, and you can interact with the respondents. We have a recruiter login where your recruiter can log in and only see the activity. So they can invite the respondents on your behalf. They can check their daily activity. They can also send reminders if you need them to do that for you, or you can do it yourself. And then there is the option for the brand, the client, to log in as what we call an observer with read-only access. So essentially it's their customer on the dashboard. Okay, they get to see, but they do not get to interact. So as I say, we're typically, you're our client. We work predominantly with researchers, and then you pull the whole project together and everybody is connected in some shape or form on the Indeemo platform. Now there's 3 components to a successful outcome using mobile ethnography. Okay, so, you know, it's the researchers. So, you know, this projects are not successful without the magic that you guys bring. Okay, so you pull the whole thing together. You obviously bid the brief, find the recruiter, pull that all together. So it's essential to have researchers with the skill set to use this. Essential to have great recruitment. So we can't underemphasize the importance of quality recruitment. So, and again, the key thing to get away from this today is that this is nothing new in terms of the mechanics of getting a qualitative research project up and running. You will typically work with the same recruiter you've always worked with. The incentive for doing a week-long study on a platform like Indeemo is essentially focus group money. Okay, so whatever you typically incentivize for an hour and a half of their time, the quant will be very similar for a 7-day study where they're doing 15-20 minutes a day. Okay, so nothing new there. You screen the same way. You know, the recruiter is speaking to these respondents, screening them well, making sure they know what's going on. That's absolutely critical, because the more engaged and the better screened these respondents are, the more successful the outcome will be. All we do really is we give you a technology that allows you to connect with these participants remotely and do the research. Okay, And I think the key thing to say here is really our positioning here is that we are a technology that enables a service. Okay, so this is just a tool at the end of the day. So without the expertise of good researchers, you know, outcomes are not guaranteed. So, you know, this is a tool. The quality of research, the quality of recruitment is absolutely critical for success. Okay, now this is the most important slide, I guess, here, because in this slide, these are all of the research use cases that we typically support, and conversely, these are all the services that could potentially be offered by you to your clients. Okay, so this is really a shopping list of capabilities where you, using a technology like this, can offer an evolved service to your clients. Okay, so, and really the structure of this slide is, you know, at the top you're going from a point of zero knowledge. You're at the very start of what we call an innovation journey, and at the bottom you probably have a product or a service in market, and the client needs to figure out what the customer experience is like. Okay, so typically if the client comes to you looking for some strategic work, understanding white space opportunities, or trying to just get a week in the life of their different customer personas, then a week-long week in the life diary studies is something we routinely support. Very open-ended, very much foundational, very much with the goal of discovering what's going on in the lives of your customers' customers. Okay, so in this respect, it does work as a standalone methodology. You can do this moderated or unmoderated. Okay, where this is really powerful, however, is when you complement it with asynchronous capability. So we do a lot of pre-tasking, traditionally, obviously, for face-to-face IDIs or face-to-face groups, and now increasingly for online groups or IDIs. So when you use mobile ethnography as a pre-task, essentially what it allows you to do is it allows you to get to know the respondents before you get to meet the respondents. Okay, so when you talk to them face to face, then you're not trying to figure out what's going on. You're really picking up where you left off. You're talking about a specific video or something specific that they said, and it allows you to hit the ground running. And the conversation really becomes about probing and clarification rather than just discovery. Okay, so it really gives you greater ROI on your face-to-face time with the participants. Okay, it's also a great mechanic to do, maybe get 20 people into a pre-task and then pick the best 10 or pick the best 8 to go and spend time with face-to-face. Okay, so it's almost like another level of screening, so that when you do bring somebody into an IDI and maybe the client might watch in, it's a way to make sure you've got the right respondents, the right personas in your face-to-face sessions. Okay, we do a lot of projects where the clients may have commissioned surveys and segmentations, and essentially they have no idea who these personas are. So with video diaries, it really gets you the ability to see the people behind the pie charts. Okay, so you might take a subset of your quant respondents and just do a 3 to 4 or 5 day diary study with Indeemo, and that really brings them to life for the client. So it turns them from just a written persona into a video, essentially. Okay, now we're seeing a big trend towards digitization, obviously. Okay, so it's very powerful for doing remote usability research. We have a mobile screen recording capability, which I'll show you shortly. So that allows you to do mobile screen recordings basically remotely, and do, in addition to doing kind of foundational research, you can do usability research. Okay, we've got several clients who used to bring participants into facilities to do product tests. We're now doing a lot of that remotely, so you can ship them the sample and you can get them to take videos of them using it. So we do a lot of out of the box research or product tests in home. Okay, the trend of the last 6 weeks undoubtedly, however, is this kind of push to e-commerce, this push to mobile. Okay, so the trend we're seeing coming in on all the briefs now is that clients are trying to figure out how consumer behavior shifted online, omnichannel research, you know, how do they shop online, how do they shop in store, what's their attitude to the in-store experience now in this kind of COVID new normal, and that kind of morphs into shopping experience, customer experience, and what is their journey for any particular research use case. So each one of these is a service that you could pitch to the client depending on where they are in their own product lifecycle. And again, happy to talk further later in Q&A about each specific use case. Okay, key thing here is proven in B2C and B2B. So maybe 80% of our work is consumer, but increasingly B2B is a huge component now as well. Everything from healthcare, understanding HCPs, employee engagement. So literally you can use this to understand any actor in any research context. Right, so getting into the app, how it works is you recruit your respondents, you incentivize them to take part. What we do as part of our service is we'll collaborate with you up front. We'll guide you on task design. We'll do the heavy lifting on the project setup for you. So it's not just a piece of tech, okay? Respondents are then invited in to take part, and they use our mobile app. So the best way to describe it, our customers say it's a bit like Instagram with a task list, okay? So a set of tasks for them to do. And what they're doing then is they're completing their tasks in the moment, in their everyday context, over a period of time by uploading photos or screenshots or videos or selfie videos, screen recordings, or just open-ended text, okay? So it's essentially like a longitudinal interactive digital diary, okay? We're very strong on video, okay? So I think one of the core takeaways here today is the power of video. So nothing brings your target audience to life like videos. It's magnetic for the clients. They absolutely love us. And I think what we're seeing with this kind of self-ethnographic approach is that what the respondents will say in a video when there's nobody else in the room is much more open, it's much more authentic, it's much more confessional almost than they might say to somebody face to face. So it really kind of immerses you into their lives, and you know, it gives you a really authentic window into their actual behaviors, okay? It works on smartphones, so this is a predominantly smartphone app. It works on iPhones and Androids. Okay, so you will need to screen for respondents with smartphones. It also works on tablets, if respondents have tablets, and it's available literally everywhere. Okay, so, and in particular, multi-country projects are a real sweet spot for us, where you need to do research remotely, and then Tom will be talking later about a study that he did in the US while working in the UK. Right, so the bread and butter, the nuts and bolts of how you use this is around tasking. So a task really is an activity that you get them to do, and then they respond to that by showing you what they're doing with either videos or photos or screen recordings or text, okay? And I won't get into this in too much detail today because we're obviously on the clock, but you can schedule tasks to go out at a particular date and time. So a push notification can go out at 9 a.m. and you know, they'll get an alert on their phone and they can reply to that. Okay, sequential tasking, it's a bit like the Russian doll of tasking, right? Where they register and they only get to see the first task, and we don't reveal the next task until they complete the first. So it's a way for you to drip feed activities to them and take them on a linear journey. So scheduled tasking would be maybe 80% of what we do in respect to diary studies. You know, you might be probing weekday behaviors versus weekend behaviors. Sequential tasking, we would do a lot when it comes to UX benchmarking, customer journey mapping, you know, shopping missions, where you want to control when respondents get to see their tasks, okay? You can task in any language. It's very powerful for multi-country projects. You can actually embed videos and stimulus into a task, so you could introduce yourself in a selfie video and embed that in the task list. You can show them concepts and stimuli and get them to give you feedback. It also links out to any survey tool. So once your survey tool is web enabled, you can embed a link to the survey and they can complete the survey without ever leaving Indeemo. Okay, key thing here is we will help you choose the right strategy. So we're very collaborative, very hands-on in terms of having a conversation with you at the very start of even when you get the brief, to tell you and guide you the best way to go so that you can get the best value out of the technology. So you're not on your own in this. We're very much invested in making sure you have a win for your clients. Mobile screen recording, I'll quickly show you this. So this, I think, is very powerful, especially with this kind of, you know, forced digital transformation that we're in the middle of. But what happens here is you can task respondents to start the screen recording on Indeemo, and we will show you everything they do on the screen of their phone, and we capture their voice as they do it. So you get to watch them search Google, you get to watch them browse on Amazon, you get to watch them stumble around your client's website to find the information they need. So for any sort of online purchase journey, any sort of remote usability testing. This is incredibly powerful. It's a good replacement to lab work, because the labs obviously are not possible right now. But instead of bringing a participant into a lab and standing over their shoulder where they're trying to be the perfect user, they do this when they're sitting on their sofa. You hear the TV on in the background. They're much more neutral. They're much more authentic. So we're very excited about this, because this is the capability that allows you to understand how they shop in Tesco, but also how they shop on Tesco.com. One other new capability that we've recently launched is a customer journey mapping capability. This would work where you might want to send them on a mission and understand their experience. So it could be a shopping experience. It could be an e-commerce experience where they browse online, shop online, receive a package, try out the product, give you feedback. So anywhere there's a linear journey where you take the respondents through it, what we can do is configure a 5-point scale, and the respondents are essentially forced to rate their experience milestone by milestone in the moment. So you get essentially a net promoter score when they're doing that particular activity you want to audit. What we do is we graph the highs and lows of that journey on the back end, either at an individual respondent level or at a group level. So very, very powerful. Again, when everybody's talking about the experience economy, digitization is huge. Traditional brands are moving rapidly online. This capability is going to be very powerful at helping you map out their customer's journey and basically quantify the customer experience or the user experience as you do that for them. Now, that's the end of the responding capability. This is your dashboard. So this is the researcher dashboard. I think the best way to describe it, it's probably like a hybrid of Pinterest and Facebook sitting on Dropbox. Okay, so it's very visual like Pinterest, it's very intuitive. It's interactive like a private one-to-one Facebook, where you can interact with respondents privately, and it stores all your media and all your data like Dropbox. You can see here it's one interface with lots of filters. You can log in as a researcher, and you can see all the data, and you can interact with respondents, and you get the full suite of capabilities. Your clients can log in with a restricted access called observer access, and they can see the respondents, they can see the data, but they cannot interact with the respondents. So it kind of keeps them at arm's length, but it also connects them with the consumer. Okay, really simple to use, lots of filters. You can filter across the entire project, or you could filter on a particular task, or you could filter on an individual respondent, or you can work all of those filters together. So really powerful, intuitive, and great at helping you find the information you need to find. What's powerful about the approach is you get to interact with them. So it's a kind of very chilled out methodology, because the time window is stretched out over a week. So you don't have to have the perfect idea. You don't have to have all your questions ready in that 90-minute window. You know, they'll upload 2 or 3 videos, and day one, you get a chance to watch those videos. And if you've got a question, you can comment on their post. Okay, and you can ask them a follow-up question. And what that does is it triggers a push notification straight to the lock screen of their phone. So because it's a mobile app, the alerts go out as notifications, not as emails. So you don't get lost in their spam folder. You don't get buried in their inbox. Okay, you go straight to the lock screen of the phone, which is a huge impact on engagements and completion rates. And when they reply, we give you alerts on desktop to tell you that something new is happening. Okay, so it's incredibly interactive, and it allows you to go down rabbit holes with each individual respondent over the course of the study and really get under the skin of what's happening in their lives. Another powerful capability is you can run your entire study from your smartphone. So you don't have to be anchored to your laptop to moderate the projects. So you can log into our dashboard through Safari on your iPhone or Chrome on your Android, and you can scroll through the feed of uploads the same way you'd scroll through Facebook on your phone, and you can comment and moderate while you're out walking the dog, literally. Okay, so it's truly mobile. In fact, the respondents are mobile, and so are you. So this is a great capability for, you know, you could be picking up the kids from school or whatever that is, basically, or waiting in line or something at a restaurant or whatever that is. You can literally run your study. So that allows you to multitask, basically. You don't have to be stuck in the IDI at a particular date and time. Okay, respondent management is easy. We show you what each respondent is doing. We have a bunch of filters here on the screen that allows you to track their activity task by task, day by day, respondent by respondent. And if you do need to send reminders, you select on the checkboxes here, you click on the group reminder up here, and it sends them a push notification. It's really powerful. Takes you maybe 10 minutes a day to manage the activity. If you want to, you can get your recruiter to log in, and they can do all the invites and all the chasing for you. And they can export an Excel at the end of the project to calculate the incentives and pay them out. In terms of analysis, what we have is we have keyword capabilities in there. So when you do any search, it could be across the entire project, or it could be for an individual respondent or for an individual task. What we do is we generate a keyword cloud on the fly. So with every search, we're giving you kind of signals as to what's trending in the results of that data, okay? Now, where this gets very interesting is it works with the text that they type, as in the written text, but it also works in conjunction with automated video transcription. So we have an option on the platform where we will transcribe your videos automatically, and we turn them into time-coded, searchable transcripts, okay? This is incredibly powerful. I'm sure Tom will talk about this shortly, but this is a huge time saver. Video is intensive. Video is heavy data. It does take time to analyze. But with this capability, what we do is we allow you to search into videos by keyword. So essentially here we're searching for makeup. We'll show you where the word makeup appears, so you can skip ahead. You don't have to sit there trying to find the interesting sentence in the video. That could save you 2 or 3 minutes for every video. And then if there's something really compelling that you want to put in your reports, you can actually trim out the clip, just that sentence, and you can download a clip to your computer. Okay, so this is disruptively efficient at saving you time in understanding video. Video is intensive, but it's very powerful. The clients love it. It wins you business. And this is a way, our first step into making it easier for you to understand video at scale and use it in your reports. Okay, the video transcription is done by Microsoft, so we're leveraging Microsoft AI here. It's not perfect. It's about 90 to 95% accurate. If you do need to make changes, you can manually edit the transcripts as you go through it. In terms of coding mechanics, we have a tags capability where you can start tagging posts as you work your way through it, okay? And a tag can be an individual word, or it could even be a sentence. What you do is you start, watching the videos and looking at the photos in the first pass of the project. You can start coding the data using those tags, and then after your fieldwork is finished, you can filter back using tags to figure out, the posts where they're talking about, isolation, or they're talking about organic. Okay, so this is a mechanic for you to code the data. You can filter on your tags, and you can start clustering the information into different themes and concepts, which ultimately will make their way into the themes of your report. It's very visual. So what we do is we give you the ability to look at the data through multiple different lenses. So we have a Pinterest style view, which I showed you earlier. You also have a collage view. So if you're doing a photo diary of butters or margarines or spreads or what people are using, for lunch or whatever, they can take a photo diary over 7 days, just take a picture of what's in the lunchbox, and then you can create a collage on the back end at the click of a button. So it's great for you to consume visual data. It's also great for presenting back in your reports. We have a timeline view, so you can follow the individual post by post journey of your participants. So that's great for diary studies, understanding linear journeys. The data is completely exportable. You can take it into Excel. You can take it into Microsoft Word. You can download the videos and the images either individually or in bulk at the end of the story, at the end of the project. The other thing to say here as well is in terms of security. So we're HIPAA certified for healthcare research in the US. We're about to complete an ISO 27001 audit. We have passed security checks from some of the largest European banks, some of the largest UK healthcare providers. So if your clients are concerned about information security, GDPR, happy to furnish a suite of policies and documents to reassure your clients and get through the procurement process. Okay. I think the last thing to say really is this is how we want you to feel when you're working with us, right? So this is our metaphor for what your customer experience, we hope, will be like. So, we're very collaborative in terms of helping you win. At the end of the day, this is just a tool. If you're not selling, we're not selling. So we are your partner in this. We are your sales partner in this. We firmly believe, we're actually about to rebrand soon, that it takes humans to understand humans. We're bearish on AI. It's useful, but it doesn't pick up nuance. It doesn't understand context. So really what we're in the business of is building a technology platform that helps you do your business remotely, anywhere, anytime. And not only will we guide you in terms of optimizing your pitch to win the brief, not only will we guide you on tasking design strategy, we'll train you, we'll get your clients on board, we'll do all the tech support for the respondents and the participants, and we'll make sure basically that this is pretty much a frictionless experience all the way through. Okay, so that's the end of my quick propaganda pitch, Lucy. I'd probably hand over to Tom now. I'm keen to hear his experience.
Hi, Eugene, it's Sally speaking again. Yes, so we'll unmute Tom if you're ready. Can you say something, Tom? Check that it's working. Yeah, that's perfect. Great.
Okay. Great. Well, yeah, thanks, Eugene. And just to share some of my experiences of the technology itself, and just to talk a bit about the importance of this whole area from what I've seen. First of all, I mean, I think doing this type of research is utterly vital these days because, as I'm sure we've all heard, there's so many criticisms of traditional Qual, which are very hard to argue against because it's things like, human psychology and the fact we don't necessarily remember what we do. Not only that, but industry criticisms that sometimes research is too dry in the way it's fed back, big reports full of text-based verbatims. It's not the kind of format or packaging of our thinking that's going to really make an impact on clients. And so having things like mobile video, pictures, feedback from in people's real worlds, taken from natural contexts, that solves that second challenge because it makes our reporting a lot more engaging. It has a lot more effect client side, but perhaps even more importantly, it adds the integrity of what we're doing because we're getting feedback from people in the moment, which means that we're not just relying on them to remember past behavior, which we know humans do quite badly, and it addresses this really fundamental criticism of our entire industry. So I think it's really is kind of a savior to some of these criticisms that we face. Maybe we don't always hear it, but these are conversations that agencies have, clients have. So yeah, mobile itself is vital, and not just that, but to do mobile well, you do need to work with people like Eugene and Indeemo who have specialist technology, because I don't know how many of you have tried mobile, maybe even had your hands burnt, as it were. But I mean, if I go back, 2007 was the first time I did a mobile project when I was at this agency, Hall & Partners, and back then we had to use WordPress adapted technology, and we got mobile MMS videos that were sent, and it took hours and hours to download and cost loads of money. It was just a nightmare. And fast forward, whatever it is, 13 years on now, and you get platforms like Eugene's, which are really built for mobile. They're built from the bottom up to be mobile led, and not all online Qual mobile platforms are, but Eugene's is, and it's great because it means that you can handle this just being awash with content and video. It is almost an embarrassment of riches. Sometimes you do these projects and you're like, where do I start? There's so much here, which is why you need tools that allow you to tag content so you can come back to it when you need it. Things like the clipping function I found really useful on the project I did, where you can isolate within the platform a particular part of the video and then just download just that bit, so you're not stuck with a massive file. And just from a participant's point of view, making it easy for them to see the questions, to understand the task, to upload the video, and then for us as researchers to moderate and probe and see it all laid out in an interface that's easy to navigate. All of these things are really key, and you don't get that with other online Qual platforms who are primarily more designed around text and around PC web use. So in that case, yes, you can get video, but often they say keep the videos really short because people will upload them and it will take them ages to upload. Whereas I know that Indeemo have got a good compression technology, so it's easier to upload them. And equally with those traditional platforms, which I do use a lot, and I'm a fan of them, but with mobile in particular, they do fall down a bit, and you have to say to people sometimes things like, oh, record your video on a lower setting of not HD, whereas again with Indeemo, you've got a bit more freedom to let people use mobile in a more natural way. You don't have to be so restrictive. So yeah, I think using a bespoke platform like Indeemo's really makes life a lot easier. I mean, I was using the transcription function. There's a transcription option that you mentioned, Eugene, and I noticed the percentage of how accurate it is goes up I mean, it was a couple of years ago I did the project that we were discussing earlier, but but the percentage of accuracy of this auto transcription goes up every year. So now it's at 95%, and it is pretty impressive how well it can take what people say and turn it into a transcript. But that's really useful because you can skip through that and just read rather than have to watch everything. And also what I found was really important was the support from Indeemo. So although I've done loads of mobile video projects before, I was learning things that I'd never learned before by hearing what the guys had to say. So they were looking at my first draft discussion guide saying, you know what, less is more, maybe cut back a bit here, don't ask such long questions there, all of which helps the study. So I think you can really lean on Indeemo to help design that study in a way that's going to be likely to work. Obviously they've sat across hundreds of studies, so they've learned a lot from them. So that's really useful, really helpful. And having 24-hour support. My study was in America, and knowing that there's people online that can answer questions that participants may have, which they did really promptly, was really reassuring too. So yeah, again, I mean, my main takeout really is just work with, if you're going to do a mobile video heavy project, work with specialists like Indeemo, lean on them to help you design it. And yeah, don't be afraid to embrace it, because it can be overwhelming, but it's not when you've got the tools that help you cut through that volume. And it's really something we have to do today, whether it's a pre-task or even a post-task follow-up. But we should be doing reporting that's got that color from video, and we should be addressing some of these challenges to us about people's issues with recall and the importance of getting into real-world contexts. So I mean, that's my main things I'd like to share. But yeah, any questions or anything? If we're doing questions, I could say more.
That's fantastic. Thanks very much, Tom and Eugene. And we have got quite a few questions that have come through. I'm going to leave you unmuted, Tom, in case you have something to add to Eugene's answers. The first one is, what's the biggest sample sizes you have seen people using? Can this become a quant tool?
Yeah, so it's about volume of data. So the number is unlimited. I guess the limit is your ability to process the data. Okay, so just to go back, our average study is about 20 respondents, maybe 12 to 30 respondents over a week to 2 weeks. That's the atomic unit of something that happens on Indeemo. We've had studies where we've had up to 200 respondents. Okay, but our advice then is, when you go with that large a number of respondents, your tasking needs to be extremely focused. So those studies with 200 are almost measurement experience type studies, where you want them to do this and then do this and do this. You don't let them go off piste. It's not very open-ended, but we can take it up into 100, 200 if needed. But the health warning is that you need to be super specific and granular on your tasking.
Fantastic. Can you therefore use this to trace or observe how people search or window shop a retail website online prior to going shopping in the store?
Absolutely. So if you go back to the mobile screen recording, you can literally record, as we say, everything from the trigger to the transaction, right? So I think, what you see here on screen, obviously I've got it muted for the presentation, but basically we can record everything from a Google search to, who inspires them on Instagram, to clicking out and trying to find that garment online. Okay, so this is the power of this. We've had, I guess the story we really tell here is we did the quintessential moment of Omnichannel, I guess, was a study we did in the US, back to school study last year, where a respondent had gone to Walmart because they said they had a particular calculator in stock. When they got there, they didn't. And she did a screen recording where she showed us herself buying it on Amazon while standing in Walmart. We could hear the tannoy and everything in the background. So it is an absolute compliment to any sort of an online high street study, whether you're trying to figure out what influences them or literally how they transact online.
Okay, we've got another couple of questions on screen. Yes.
Can I add one thing to that? Just because I had a conversation with the MRS recently about this, and it's probably relevant. Their position is that as long as you're filming, you're not filming other shoppers when you're doing it, then there's no issues. You don't need to necessarily technically get permission from the shop. Whereas the shop could, of course, say what you're doing. Not that they ever would, because everyone's on their phone these days. But the only time I've had an issue with it was in a German study, because I think in Germany there's a real sensitivity around privacy in particular because of their history. So some of the people on that study said, I don't want to record in public at all. But apart from that, you know, as long as you're not filming other people, then it's fine from that point of view.
Okay, so another couple of questions on screen recording. So for the screen recording, do you capture the data behind the screen, e.g. an Excel file of each page visited, app used, for how long?
No, we don't. So it's not kind of clickstream data. This is just a video of what they're doing. You get to see what's happening on screen, and we capture their voice as they do it. So we know there's lots of technologies out there, kind of sniffer technologies, where you're getting logs and analytics of traffic and time on site. We don't do that, but we have supported multiple studies where that has been one component, and this kind of visual screen recording has been a complement to that.
Okay, so another question on screen recording. Can you actually see what the person clicks on? And on a desktop, you would see the cursor, but on a mobile, you don't get this detail.
We don't, once we go outside the app, we can't show you what their finger is doing tapping, but you'll see it in the video where if they tap on the link will change color, and we'll record that in the actual video recording.
And I found people voice over what they're doing, so they'll say things like, okay, so I'm going to click OK, and then I'll go to the next screen or whatever it is. So you get the audio explaining what they're clicking on quite often.
And what you'll find as well, thanks, Tom, that's a good point. The magic is when they stop talking. Okay, so they'll scroll down through the Google search, and then they'll stop talking. They'll go silent for 4, 5, 6 seconds, and they say, oh, this is interesting, and then they'll tap in. And those are the kind of the key moments that really kind of tell you what's going on. So it's extremely authentic in terms of literally helping you understand their journey and their kind of split-second decision-making process.
Okay, another question, more security oriented. So is Indeemo a US company, and where is the data held?
It's an Irish company. Data is held entirely within European Union. Yeah, that's it. So a European company, European Union hosting. Okay.
I heard the product for participants can be used on smartphones and tablets. Did you say it could work on laptops too? With participants at home, switching between devices is more prevalent, so important to look at the website journey they take across devices. So yes, can it be used on tablets too? Sorry, on laptops too?
Yes, so we've a mobile web version of this for respondents who might have. Sometimes respondents have no memory in their Androids, and we can't compress the video, so we give them a mobile web version where they upload it without compression. Okay, so that's available, and that works on laptops. Laptops are okay. They're not spontaneous. So the only times we would really do kind of laptop studies would be maybe they're slightly text heavy with older demographics where the client's a bit nervous, or enterprise software where we're doing kind of screen recording very intensively focused on UX, but it is there as an option.
Okay, next question. Do Indeemo work with researchers to help shape a response and provide a quote for a client brief? And is that charged for? This person's just conscious about using their time when they might not necessarily get the work. So how much time are you prepared to put in?
Look, this is sales partnership, right? So if you're winning, we're winning. So very collaborative. Happy to jump on a call, 20 minutes, half an hour, brainstorm the brief. We play the long game here, basically, to be honest. So no restrictions. We'd love to get on a call and see if we can give you some strategies to get a hook into the client. And I think, Tom, that was one of your points. We hear routinely that this is a capability that makes your pitch stand out. Okay. And this is a pitch winner. So we routinely hear that in feedback calls. Tom, I don't know, maybe you can talk to that, but this is a differentiator. And certainly with this omni-channel capability, I think it's probably necessary now.
I had to confess, I didn't hear the bit then. Sorry.
Sorry, Tom. Just Tom, whether this is, you know, the power of this in helping you win briefs, I guess you feel that this is something that stand out.
Definitely. If one company's offering this and someone isn't, it just makes the other offer look so basic that they're not actually getting into people's real lives and offering all that extra multimedia feedback. So yeah, and you guys have always been very helpful in my proposals with that, you know, quick costs and ideas as well, because I think people often forget that platform providers are sitting over hundreds of projects and learn so much that there's so much kind of value in that for writing proposals and actually doing the job and designing it. So definitely lean on Indeemo to help with that.
Yeah, just a quick comment from what I think it must be a client watching this discussion or listening to this discussion. This would definitely be a pitch winner for me, so there's more endorsement there. Another question, can you give us an idea about the pricing for a 7-day study with 20 participants?
Absolutely. So so 20 participants on for a week. The price starts at about £1,300. Okay, mobile screen recordings, an upgrade, automated video transcription is a 15% supplement. Okay, so about 65. It's basically almost the same as your incentive budget.
Okay, have you had, well, a couple of questions now. Have you had any experience of using this in non-English speaking countries? And if so, what were the challenges?
Yeah, so we can task in any language. Okay, so and the respondent app is fully localized into simplified Chinese, Japanese, Korean, French, Spanish, German, Italian, Romanian, Brazilian, Portuguese. So we cover all of Latin America and the major Asian markets. In the multinational studies, typically you will be collaborating with an international colleague who's probably a moderator based in market, and they will typically do the translation for you. They'll do the moderation in market, and they may even do the analysis and translation in market as well. So usually these studies may be driven out of New York or London, but you'll always have a colleague on the ground who will come in to assist. But it's bread and butter for us. We do these routinely.
Okay, another one about foreign studies. Have you any experience of using this amongst foreign resident consumers in the UK where they are reticent to use their phone because of doing so, i.e. because of the cost of using their phone here?
Very interesting question. So it's never hit my radar as an issue in 4 years. What I will say is just in terms of cost of data, Tom mentioned that we have very powerful compression technology built into the app. So the video that gets uploaded is about 10% of the size it is when it's recorded. So 2-minute, 3-minute video is probably about 40 to 60 megabytes. So it's literally never entered our radar. The only place where data costs have been an agenda item has been maybe like Brazil or South America or South Africa, where the data costs are punitive.
Okay, can you clarify what you mean by omnichannel?
So, you know, how do we shop these days? So typically you'll see something on social media. You might do a search on Google. You'll check it out on some website. You might go buy it in store. You might order online and click and collect. So it's it's the use of mobile to either inform or research or purchase goods. Okay, so omnichannel right now for us is, you know, click and collect is huge. Okay, so we've got multiple studies ongoing at the moment for QSRs, for convenience stores, fashion retailers, where they're trying to figure out, you know, what influences fashion styles and how people transact, whether it's in store or online. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, I think Caroline's going to, sorry, the person asking this question is going to contact you directly. Is there an auto-translate function so we can see or read inputs from other markets directly in English?
There's not currently. It's something we're looking at, but the hack for that is to open up our dashboard in Chrome, enable auto-translate in the Chrome browser, and it'll turn any language, including the video transcript in any language, into English for you. So that's what we recommend right now, and it's clients are very happy with it.
Okay, and do you have a system in place to manage incentives more effectively and send monetary digital rewards or vouchers internationally?
We don't. So that's handled by the recruiters typically, or maybe Particity looks like it's pretty awesome. So yeah, but it's not something we handle currently.
Okay, well, I think that is the last of the questions. So unless anybody's got anything else they want to add. Otherwise, lots of people saying thank you very much. Really interesting presentation. Thanks also to Tom for adding his additional feedback from his personal experiences. That's been really great, really interesting. Yeah, that's been wonderful. Thanks very much, Eugene. And thanks to everybody for signing in and for watching. And don't forget, there's quite a busy diary of other webinars coming up. So make sure you look on the website to see what the next webinar is going to be. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. And thanks, Tom, as well. I appreciate it. Cheers.
No worries.
Bye-bye.